fantastically well. It's a huge night for them as well, if they can keep their momentum as well. So it'll be very tense down there. Good, get yourself down there if you're local.
Yeah, I mean, I've got to be honest, Marky, you've stolen most of Dicker's thunder. Evening, Paul.
All right.
Good evening, everybody. Lovely to see.
Sorry, Dicker.
I think there's 1,000 fans over there, and I think they're singing about Marco Gabardini. I think that's it. You know what I mean?
I mean, we've got the York perspective, if you like, from Marco. Just on Gateshead, Paul, to begin with. I mean, it's a heck of a job that Rob Elliott and Louis Story, to be fair, have done since coming back.
Oh, unbelievable. I mean, you're right. I mean, 2 defeats in 10 games. When we were here, remember when we were gated for our Christmas lunch when we got beat off Walsall?
Yeah.
They were rock bottom of the league. And you're right now, 2 defeats out of 10 games. I mean, it's a miracle what's happened. I mean, what Rob Elliott's done, he's just transformed the team, and it's working unbelievable. But the miracle that they've had from bottom to fourth bottom, they've got to have another miracle now to survive in the league. And it's not going to be easy. Luckily they're not playing York for the next 7 games, as you would say. Hopefully they'll get this one out the way. And looking at the fixtures, they've got some games where they're winnable, which they've already won at that level. So they have a chance, they really have.
Yeah, they've got a right mix of fixtures between now and the end of the season. They've got Carlisle, which will be a huge game on Good Friday as well. Essentially, Ross, what Gateshead have done is they've profited from the games in hand that they had, and have got themselves back in a position where they can now push to avoid relegation.
Yeah, and that was the key for them. It's one thing having games in hand, but you've got to capitalise on them. You've got to, it's the old cliche, points on the board, isn't it? But they've got themselves
now.
now.
Win them.
Well, yeah, exactly, Digger. Yeah, and they have done, and they've put themselves in a fantastic position, albeit it's still a very dicey position, and the running's not easy, I don't think, in terms of York and Carlisle and Scunthorpe. I think they've still got to play, but in and amongst that, like you said, Colin, I think there's some winnable games in there as well. At Yeovil and the likes. So there is some games which they may target. I know they've made a few changes tonight. Just looking at the team sheet, I don't know if that's with one eye on Saturday's game, which they might feel as if a game that they can target a little bit more. But look, they've put themselves in a position where, if you'd said this, 3, 4, 5 weeks ago, you would have probably been laughed out of the international stadium. But now they're in a position now where they can have hope of actually staying in the league.
Yeah, and
I always think as well, Dicker, when you're all a team in them bottom 6 or 7 places, if you're the team that's winning matches regularly, you fly up that table, because all the other ones around you, and there's teams, 3 or 4 places above them at the moment who are in free fall. It's a heck of an opportunity they've given themselves. It's a really brilliant effort.
It is, and I just hope they can survive. Well, like 4 mile along the road, we've got South Shields, who are second top. They're pushing for promotion to the National League, and it would be great to big derby games next year, South Shields against Gateshead, if they were both in the National League next season.
Yeah, because I mentioned, Ross, that you were there on Saturday when they beat Martha, and obviously you talked about the book and your connection to South Shields as well. Not just, Dick is absolutely right talking about how welcome derbies would be, but just as a club, they would be a very welcome addition to the National League.
Oh, I mean, South Shields is a fantastic story. The way they've turned themselves around, like I touched on earlier, and risen up through the leagues. Not just that, but look, Saturday was the first time I'd been back to Shields in a little while. It was the first time this season that I've been to see.
Did you enjoy it?
I did, Digger, because I was on hospitality, so I got a free food and drink, mate. and you weren't there to wind us up neither, so it was a double bubble, yeah. But no, they played fantastic, and they played they're playing some really good football under Ian Watson and Carl Magnier, and they've always played good football, or they've played a lot of good football over the last few years in terms of the style of play. But there was 2,100 and odd there. It was a real fantastic atmosphere. There'll be a great addition into the National League. We know that they've got ambitions to kind of eventually, hopefully, get into the Football League. They're such a well-run club. on and off the pitch. You can only hope for good things for them, and it was a great atmosphere on Saturday and a great performance as well.
Last question for you, Dicka. What's a double-headed question? How's the weather and how's the pitch?
Well, the game's on. I spoke to the referee, and he said this was, about 20 to 7, and he says, I'm going to have an inspection at 7 o'clock. There's 2 areas on the pitch where it was hose and water, but then the rain stopped, and luckily, I'm going to go and watch a nice game now.
Fingers crossed. We're allowed to cheer, despite Marco being on the show, we're allowed to cheer on Gateshead tonight because York are a bit too far south for us. So enjoy the game, Dicka.
Thank you, lads. Have a good night.
Thank you very much
Dicka.
indeed. Cheers, Paul. Just before we round out this little non-league section, obviously, Ross, it would be remiss of us not to mention the fact that you're the chairman at Wycombe in Northern League Division 1 as well. It's been a relatively tough season. I mean, certainly up to Christmas, results-wise, was a tough one. Picked up a fair bit since then. Still fancy the chances of staying up?
Yeah, I think so. I think the lads that we've got in, the management team, we brought them in September, October time, I think it was. Have rebuilt the squad and have got a group of players who are committed and playing for them and playing for the club. So fingers crossed we can continue the positive results that we've had over the last, month, 6 weeks or so, and stay up in Division 1, which would be a great achievement from the dicey start that we had at the start of the campaign.
Indeed. Thank you to Paul Dixon, as always. Just a reminder, it's probably a bit late if you haven't found out by now, but Blythe Town against Ashington off as well tonight, and that would have been quite a game down the bottom of the NPL East Division. Right then, time is running on. It is 23 minutes to 8.